and not sever relationships with the board when as ministry we're trying to work along with the board in order to make things better at the institution. No matter, and Member of Parliament Frank Richardson said it perfectly, and also Member of Parliament Maurice Lake, when they stated the manner in which articles are set up. Yes, the minister directly is responsible for education. However, how much can you really enforce at these different institutions if, however, the board decides not to? In reference to the question posed by Member of Parliament Sarah Westcott Williams, when it was stated that yes, the minister did send a letter requesting for them to reverse the dismissal of the director. Yes, it was sent. Was it officially answered and recognized? It was stated, yes, your letter was received after it was in the media. So, you know, and in actuality, how much power do you have? Now, to address the question of Member of Parliament Maurice Lake in terms of the setup of these articles by government that is set up pertaining to all boards are set up incorrectly. Because you hand the power over to individuals whereby the ministry is not responsible for the monitoring of quality. However, you really have no power sitting in the seat of the board. And I believe that is where we went wrong from the beginning. The whole situation is not pleasant, it's not a very welcoming situation, especially for the students. Students too have been complaining, staff has been complaining. It has been ongoing from the month of January. It has not stopped. I can share my opinion in terms of have it gotten better. No, I believe the situation has not gotten better. It has gotten worse. As ministry, we have done our part in terms of the monitoring and ensuring that it takes place. One of the things that we have done in order to change the dynamics, we convened a meeting with the various school boards who were responsible for appointing individuals on the board of NEPA. Because, in my opinion, the dynamics at the institute can only change from top level. We convened a meeting, we requested various boards to have a meeting with us with the ministry, and we shared our opinion that the dynamics in terms of the management of the board, and I will never state that the board members do not care about what's actually happening at NEPA because I do not sit in their shoes. However, I will state that it might be challenging in terms of time to manage what needs, the whole schedule and everything needs to take place at the institution. It might be challenging for the board members to be able to commit 100% in order for change to come about at the institution. Because of this, the ministry convened a meeting with the various boards who appointed persons on the board of NEPA, and we requested that a letter of retraction of support in terms of the persons who were appointed was done so that we can now commit persons on the board who have 100% time to commit to the institution. When this meeting was convened, the retraction was done by the ministry to the person that they appointed. And a week ago, a couple of days ago, actually last week, we received a letter, we did it almost a month ago. We received a letter last week that from the individual stating that they have respectfully resigned on the request of the minister. The other boards did not comply. The other board members who appointed persons on the board said, they pulled back and they said, legally they don't know where they stand in order to request such a thing. Now I'm saying that we all, if the ministry is stating to you as board that we believe one of the challenges are the fact that the persons cannot commit 100% in monitoring the situation over the course of these last months, that we have more and more evidence of such, and you refuse to say, well, I'm not going to do as such, then where does it leave us? Now the ministry now cannot now appoint new members to this board in order to change or hope to change the dynamics at this institution. There was only one group that also followed the suggestion of the ministry, and out of all the various persons, and they too did the same actions the ministry did. So it did not change much. In the meantime, the ministry has chosen another individual to appoint to the board in order to create a change in dynamics in terms of situation, better having improvements at the institution. As I said, Mr. Chairman, I cannot, and it's in no way a disrespect to the members of Parliament or to Parliament itself, but seeing that this meeting is coming prior to the ministry's final meeting with the board, I cannot divulge too much because they don't know yet. They receive a letter request from the ministry in terms of points, what we will address in the meeting. They know the direction in which the meeting will come. Because we did not sit down and discuss, I don't believe in my professional status, I can state here so the public knows prior to the board sitting down with the ministry on Wednesday, stating what those conditions are for the board. I just cannot do that because it's a relationship that you want to keep positive, and I cannot divulge it to the public prior to sitting with the board.
Commission of Parliament to call or to put on the agenda of that commission the annual accounts of government-owned companies. That is going to take place, that discussion in the Finance Committee is going to take place on Wednesday in the afternoon. It is that point as well as the point on the taxes that will be discussed in the Finance Committee of Parliament. But by now we're talking 2013 annual accounts of the government-owned companies, and basically we should have received 2014 as well. But for right now, the discussion is going to be on those annual accounts, and I can imagine after all of this time, the government, the Minister of Finance, is going to have to answer to very relevant and pertinent questions about government-owned companies today, not what happened in their annual account of 2013. We're now in 2015. So I see where that discussion will have to go if we really want to get to the bottom of some of these issues. We have in fact publicly stated our displeasure with the way that things have gone with respect to the questions on the harbour and the request for a meeting because of this agreement that has been reached with the company Sept. We have also expressed our displeasure in terms of how government is avoiding like the plague to have a discussion on the matter of the dump, the landfill here in Phillipsburg. And I have described how Parliament has actually been kept on a line in terms of the meetings. The meetings are not going to take place, and we are to learn, like I mentioned publicly, that the Prime Minister, former Minister of Rome, is going to be off island, so no meeting of Parliament. That's why I asked, what about the Deputy Prime Minister? What about the Minister of Rome? I am understanding that the Minister of Rome, who last week could not attend the meeting of Parliament because he was ill, but now he is off island. And if my information is serving me correct, along with GB officials to discuss matters pertaining to the landfill. Now, if that is the case, a first reaction could be, well, finally, some discussion is taking place. But why the secrecy? Why could not government say to Parliament, Parliament, next week we'll be traveling on this matter, so give us some weeks. Give us some weeks, we will come back and report. No, via we have to learn that the Minister of Rome is not on the island. And is it coincidence that members of GEPE are also not on the island and have traveled to the same place? This is what creates the kind of sentiments and feelings that are expressed in the community. So those meetings are not taking place, but we're going to stay on top of it. And I was not joking when I asked the Minister of Justice this morning if our questions and queries cannot be put to the public prosecutor to be taken along in the investigation, the research, or whatever he wants to call it, that is taking place with respect to the harbour. And I expect to get an answer. By the way, the meeting that was adjourned this morning with the Minister of Justice is going to continue on Wednesday morning. So again, we have several meetings this week. The one on the Finance Committee being one of them, and an important one. We also will be dealing with the draft legislation in a central committee and public meeting this week. as far as establishing the 10th of October, the so-called Constitution Day, as a holiday. So we're going to be following these developments very, very carefully. But again, I think it's a slap in the face of the Parliament and the people of St. Martin, where the way that government is operating on matters that they don't want to divulge information on. And our question is, why? Why the secrecy? Why the kind of, as I called it before, cat and mouse game with the Parliament on these matters? Come out, tell us where you're at, and then if you want some time to work it out, well, ask us, tell us. That's what we're doing, and we lay it off until you're ready to report back and say this is what we have decided. But again, it creates this air of, something must be going on. Why the secrecy?
Vitamalt takes care of you. And now, check under the marked caps for a chance to win prizes. More detail on press.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas real easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
Of crucial importance in that regard is, for instance, the participation on a much larger level than now is the case of our local police force in the joint detective cooperation team. That is crucial to prevent, for instance, mistakes being made as have been made in the past. People come into St. Martin not knowing the community, not knowing the culture, not knowing the relationships, not knowing the locations, the geographical locations, have a tendency to make mistakes when in the course of law enforcement. That has happened in the past. We need to prevent that. We need to prevent that innocent citizens suffer because of a lack of knowledge of those who are operating within our territory. So therefore, it is of crucial importance that our teams participate because they know the local situation. They are the ones who can observe much better. They are the ones who can infiltrate gangs much better. That is of crucial importance for the effectiveness of combating international organized crime on the island as well. So that is just about an example of a number of things that need to happen on our side. And those are the things that I have said that that has eventually be made, and that is the process of negotiation. We have made a commitment, both sides of the ocean, to try and finalize those negotiations by the middle of this month, which is really the day after tomorrow. Talks will take place on Tuesday on this matter, and then from there we'll see how far we come with the joint interpretation and filling in of the protocol that has been presented to you. I think for the time being, that is an update as to where we stand at this moment.
The Dutch chief of police came here was some radical, misguided missile who was acting on his own. The statements sort of coincide with what the proposed outcome was, that they're going to make 50 police officers available, which is what Baumann said as well, and that their focus would be on specific crime, the undermining criminality on the island. The rest of it, seemingly they were not interested in, and it is interesting to see then how this entire issue will unfold. Mr. Chairman, the protocol at the time was strongly linked to was strongly linked to not strongly linked, was an integral part of the integrity chamber. The protocol was arrived at basically as a precondition to accepting the integrity chamber. And if the integrity chamber would be carried out, would be accepted as agreed upon by the Dutch, then the rest of the protocol would become applicable. What we see now is that the majority in Parliament accepted the integrity chamber along the lines that the Dutch government would like to see it established, but yet weeks after, there still is no agreement on the broader aspects of the protocol, and the Dutch interest is seemingly only geared towards the undermining criminality. They seem to have information that apparently the Justice chain in St. Martin does not have, and that is their focus. Mr. Chairman, in the protocol, there's mention made of the plan of approach as established by the St. Martin government based on the different reports. We would like to be provided with a copy of it. The Integrity Chamber was established in Parliament several weeks ago, and 3 members were to be appointed. We would like the Minister to bring us up to speed as to whether the members have already been appointed, and if not yet, if the binding nominations have been made by the respective parties, and if members have been appointed, if the Minister can bring us up to speed as to who these members are. Mr. Chairman, one of the issues that we took offense to, that we objected to in the protocol, was the fact that once the protocol is established, which is now the case, that the St. Martin government binds itself based on the protocol not to lend its cooperation to any changes to the protocol unless prior consultation takes place between the St. Martin government and the Dutch government, and a debate takes place in the Kingdom Council of Ministers. Mr. Chairman, while one would say, yes, it's a station passé, we would like still for the Minister to outline that again, particularly against the backdrop that when the protocol was established, it was basically along the lines of, guys, let us get it out of the way. Let us not pick a fight with the Netherlands now. Let us avoid an instruction. It's the responsibility of Parliament to establish and make changes to any ordinance, and this should be no different. So it was felt then by some, once we get this through and it is established, we will make our changes.
Mr. Chairman, the speaker before me, MP William Marlin, indicated that given the lapse since this agenda point was put off up to now, several occurrences have taken place. The minister explained what those were in terms of his trip to the Netherlands, etc. So I want to put the discussion in the context of the current situations, and I would like to know from the minister the answers to the following questions. As recently as the presentation of the government's intentions by His Excellency the Governor, the matter of the camera system was highlighted in this hall. Can the minister give us details as to the status of that project? The matter of a shooting range was also mentioned. Can the minister indicate how this is going to be financed? Can the minister also indicate whether a police substation in the area of Coal Bay is still a priority for government? How is the expansion of the prison going to be financed? And Mr. Chairman, many of these questions relate to the budget and the amendment to the budget, which is somewhere on its way to Parliament, but has not yet arrived at Parliament. So I hope that the minister can give us a preview of the priorities for his ministry and the financing thereof. Hence my questions in this line. Minister, you spoke about the matter of legislation, and I want to sidetrack for a moment here, but ask in that context, how far have you gotten with the changes to the civil code that regulate the labor contracts? I have understood that it is on your desk, and I would like to know how far are you with that?
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas real easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
Basically doing an exercise to assist persons who are learning to read, and the objective was to use the newspaper as a teaching tool for them. So all of the words and all of the pictures that we used to formulate the sentences came from newspaper, came from magazines, and we used that to show them that simple words they can pick up from the magazines, from the newspaper on a daily basis. So a way of showing them that they are on their way to becoming literate.
Newspaper.
There was a parade and a man went placed in the crowd. Man stabs gate. It was a gate parade. And then in the newspaper, so you have jobs, looking for jobs. The man has a new job. You can see what that job is.
Okay? This is a card. And then fawn, I like to do fun things.
Yes.
Sue, this is the Sue. Big, in it, this is a big turtle, and they can see the turtle if the word is too hard for them.
Yes.
This is a jet, the word jet. This is my jet. A set of plates, this is a set of plates. This is the number 10. And you know what? It has the same form of starting. This is.
Okay.
So that will also help because it is repeating itself.
Repetition.
Yeah?
I would like to get some feedback from you because our aim is to get you so well prepared to do the job. Because once we start, we're going to start with the Labor Department, which is a wonderful thing. It's already a group that need our help, we know them. So we need feedback. So what I would like for you to write, I'm going to give you a paper and write down what you need, because I myself, I got something, but I looking like I'm still searching. So give me some feedback on a paper, it will go around, and then we can come with new trainings and workshops so that we can be well prepared, but also to have a data with your name that we know, like, okay, this is the group we can start with, because we need people to start with. So, and maybe the experienced tutors also have some ideas and want to share their feedback. You know, I think it's great that you're already busy and doing it. We are the new ones, and we're gonna need your help and your guidance also.
On behalf of the Com Center, Rotary Club of St. Martin Sunrise, Rotary Sunrise, the Philipsburg Jubilee Library, and UNESCO, we would like to thank Ms. Jenny Frey and her right and left hand, Ms. Maureen, for presenting this beautiful workshop today on Saturday, September the 12th, 2015. As we said already last night, we will be spreading literacy throughout the community. So we thank you, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your stay here at St. Martin.